Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Hump Day. Hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Today, I want to talk to you about something that, it's very important for you to understand, especially if you're out there marketing your business on Facebook and or Instagram. So today's topic is first of all, I want to discuss what is Facebook/Instagram ad fatigue, and I also want to tell you how to avoid it. Okay. So one of the reasons why, I'm bringing this up again, I like to bring my life to you guys. And whenever I experience something with a client of mine, I try to bring it to you so that you guys do not experience the same thing. Okay. So quick story before we get into the content of today. So I have a client of mine who has been doing a lot of Facebook ads and a lot of Instagram ads with us. And, we always educate our clients on what to do, what not to do, yada, yada, yada. And they were so happy with the results they were getting, they didn't want to do any changes. And all of a sudden, it was just dipping and dipping and dipping and dipping. And I was advising them, hey, this is what we have to do. I don't want to get into the specifics because it's what we're going to talk about today. And it's something that's called ad fatigue. And that's what they was experiencing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I want to help you guys avoid it. And hopefully you guys will listen to me, not the way they did not listen to me and then have to experience it. But the good thing is that we know how to not just avoid it. We also know how to fix it when it happens. So we also may get into that a little bit as well if we have enough time. Before we get into the content, though, I want to ask you. I'm going to remind you guys that for this month until the end of the year, I am offering you guys a kick butt offer, and that is if you were to buy my book, 7 Steps to Recession Proofing Your Business. You can find it on my website, www.lbmsllc.com/book. If you purchase that, it's a $15 purchase, but here's what you get. Once you purchase that, you'll be sent a series of ways to get connected with us. We will do a free evaluation on how to make 2022 a rockin' year from a digital standpoint. If you are a local business, whether you're an attorney, a dentist, a chiropractor, HVAC company, a med spa business, home health aid business, whatever kind of business that you are, if you're a local business of those sorts, we have solutions for you on how to really catapult your business to the next level from a digital marketing standpoint, and just keep it there as well. Not just catapult and then drop. No, and how to keep it there. And that's what we're going to do for you for free after you purchase the book. Now, that is a $500 value that we're going to do. We're going to create a playbook, if you will, for you. And again, once you purchase the book, you'll be led to a series of emails of how you can get that done with us, how you can connect with us and do it. So I will ask you guys to take advantage of it and, start benefiting from it now and make sure that your 2022 gets off to a great start. Another announcement that I have before I get started with the content is that Epic 2021 is coming up, folks. Coming up sooner than you think. So I want you guys to take advantage. And if you are an HVAC company, primarily, this is an event for you guys. Go to my to the show notes and click on the link that says Epic 2021. And I would ask you to purchase your tickets, go to the event. You will be learning a lot of stuff on how to grow your HVAC business, from the ground up, or if you're already a successful HVAC business, how to take it to the next level and outperform your competitors. It's a great event. Got tons of great speakers. Check out the website. You'll see all of the information on there, and you will see how good it can get. All right. Let's get going with the content. So as you guys know, Facebook and Instagram, are the most widely used social networks. It actually has billions of users worldwide. So they have now become basically synonymous with social media marketing. So when people, what I mean by that is when people mention social media, right away, the first thing out of people's mouths is, oh, are you talking about Instagram? Are you talking about Facebook? Are you talking about, one of those two, Instagram or Facebook? That's why I mean by it has become synonymous. Okay. So technically, no campaign would be able to realize its full potential unless the audiences that are on these platforms are actually tapped. That should go without saying, because that they are the behemoth of the social world. Okay. So remember that Facebook owns both platforms. So they've built a powerful advertising tool, and it actually has enabled us, the digital marketers, to get the most out of these campaigns, and actually take it to other platforms. And we'll talk about that some other time, but there are ways you can do that. Here's the beauty of these two platforms. See, the audience can be targeted in incredible detail just through the ad sets, the ad formats, et cetera, et cetera. It's really cool. And the beauty of it is that you can have retargeting feature on these platforms, and they're probably the most powerful retargeting features of all of the social platforms that I've seen so far. They were the first ones to, well, not really the first ones, because Google had done it as well, but they were the first ones to really have it as honed in as honed in as it is now. So this is all great, right? That this is a supernatural, I call it the supernatural social platform, because they've got it on lock. You cannot mention, again, like I said, social media without knowing, or at least without listening to, without hearing the word Facebook and or Instagram at this point. However, and this is the point of this episode, okay? It's really important to note that both these tools, both Facebook and Instagram, are not a set and forget type of platform when it comes to ads. Okay. They really require some constant oversight and some kind of, I call it TLC, because you want your client, if in my case, I want my clients, or if you're doing it yourself, you want your company to actually gain its objective, whatever the objective is. And the only way that it's going to gain its objective if you stay on top of it over and over again. See, when you don't do that, it's actually the reason for what we call ad fatigue. And when that sets in, you're in trouble. Okay. So let's understand ad fatigue on both these platforms. So it might have the best you may have, like, say, the best creativity and copy, because in my day, I have seen a overabundance of great ads, both the creative side and the ad copy side. I cannot say that I have not. It's been outstanding. So but here's the problem with, and this is one thing. So you know what? Let me give you a real live example. The client I said when I first started this episode, he was doing great. Okay. And he really liked the image. He really liked the ad copy. He liked what it was doing. So every time I would say, well, I'm going to switch it out, and, because I always give people, hey, here's my next step. I'm going to switch it out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And they always say, no, I don't want to do that. The last guy who we had before you started doing that, and we started dipping on our sales. And, I didn't want to do that. And although I told him not to do it, he still did it. And that's why you're here. We kind of fired him and you're here. So I knew that was a mistake. I knew he was going to experience ad fatigue. I still let him do it because sometimes people have to see the issue. Although I mentioned to him, no, this is a problem. This is what can happen. He still didn't want to do it because his past experience was not a good experience, if you will. So long story short, I let it happen and then when it did happen, I knew how to course correct. So, and we're all good now. But this is what's leading me to this episode, because I want to show you that it can happen if you don't actually manage the ad. And this is why they pay us, because it's not a set and forget thing. You have to actually manage the ad. And both these platforms does take some time to do it. And it's time and skill to do it. So let's say you try to figure out what's going on, right? Why the cost per result is climbing, which is a problem. When you have a cost per result, a cost per lead, Facebook calls it, Facebook and Instagram call it results. Result means a lead or whatever or whatever the objective is. So I always talk about leads. So if you're trying to figure out why, what's going on, like why the cost per result is climbing or the cost per lead is climbing, and say the volume of the results is declining, even though, like let's say you didn't have any changes were made to the ad, right? You didn't make any changes to the ad. Why is this occurring? This should work off the bat, right? What's going on? So it's going to feel like the ad that was once, kicking major butt and delivering well is falling off the cliff, and for no apparent reason. Hey, no one touched this thing. What's going on? But again, these are all signs of ad fatigue. And those are the primary reason as, and in most of the cases, I'm not saying all, most of the cases, that's where I would start. So when your audience has seen the same ad many times, they simply stop engaging with it. That's just the way it works. If the same creative has been, say, used for a campaign over time, it will fail, really, really fail, and it will stop capturing their attention. And they're just going to zoom by it. Okay. Now, ad fatigue is something that can also be caused by, say, like the limited appeal of a creative, let's say. So, for example, the creative might only say resonate with a subset of a large audience, right? So once the subset has basically exhausted and the creative fails to appear to, the large audience, it also could result in the same increase in cost and decrease in volume. Okay, I've seen that happen a plethora of times. Okay, so let's talk about how to spot if your audience is suffering from, say ad fatigue. Okay, let's dive deep here, because I want to show you a couple of things. If this is happening, this is going to be something that's going to help you out. Okay, it's really, really important to understand the difference between, say, an underperforming campaign and ad fatigue. So I wanna spend some time on here, because what I don't want you to walk off thinking after listening to this episode is, if you're looking at your ad and you're saying, "Oh, I have ad fatigue," just because it's not performing well. It could be an underperforming campaign, and it could be something different that needs to be fixed. Okay, so let's be clear on that. See, here's the thing. When it's ad fatigue, it may set in at any time during a campaign's life. Okay, the basic difference between ad fatigue and underperforming campaign is that an underperforming campaign never generates any great results since the beginning. Okay, so campaigns that are, say, plagued with, say, ad fatigue initially perform well, and then they just turn it off. That is the basic telltale sign of the two. Okay, but it's just, I'm just working at a high level. There are other factors as well, but obviously it's hard for me to go over this because I can't. You're not going to see my screen, etc., etc. It's hard to go over it without you being in front of me. But just know that is by far the easiest way to tell the difference. And then after that, you have to dig deep. All right. So just basically observing the campaign stats will help you reveal which ads need your attention. Okay, that's real simple. Ask yourself, has there been a sudden decline in conversions and click-through rate, CTR, and the cost per conversion has gone up? If that happens, you have a problem in hands, unfortunately. Right? Now there's a column in Facebook called delivery. So the delivery column for the ad set or the ad in the Facebook Business Manager can also read, say, creative fatigue, with a relevant recommendation being available in the account overview. So they do have a feature within the Facebook Business Manager that can tell you if there's ad fatigue. Okay, but they call it creative fatigue. And so here's the thing, though. When they say creative fatigue, it doesn't always have to be the image. It can also be, the content, the copy. So you'd be leery of that. You also want to keep in mind that this feature doesn't work for all ad sets that have, say, multiple ads or ad sets with the reach, engagement, brand awareness, or video view objectives. Okay. So I wanted to keep that in mind. For those of you who are familiar with Facebook ads, you do know what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with Facebook ads, again, reach out to us and we'll help you out. Dynamic ads, dynamic creative, carousel, and automated app ads are not supported either. Okay. So again, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, reach out. We'll sit down and try to help you. You can also identify what's an ad fatigue, say, by looking at the frequency and the cost per result, the cost per lead, or whatever the column is, columns in your ad manager. So if the frequency and the cost per result are both increasing, then it's likely due to ad fatigue. So think of this metric as something that's tracked at the end of an ad set level, at the ad set level. Okay. So it won't include, say, recent exposure for other campaigns. So just understand that piece. And again, I'm talking Facebook speak here. And if I'm losing some of you, I'm sorry, but just reach out. We'll help you. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really do want to help you. But this is an important topic, especially if you want to take Facebook to the next level in 2022. Okay. So now let's talk about some steps to avoid ad fatigue on both these platforms. Okay. The number one step is to give your audience something new to look at. I mean, that goes without saying. So this is the simplest way to avoid the fatigue or fix campaign suffering from it. Okay. Yeah. Audience is tired of seeing the same old ad over and over again. So just give them something new to look at. You want to ensure that the new creative is, materially different from the one that it's replacing. So it's got to be. It shouldn't be just a tweak. It's got to be really different from the ones it's replacing, and that it has been, say, tested to perform at least as well as it, or if not better than the original creative. Okay, that's should go without saying, but I know a lot of times people just throw something out like they're throwing spaghetti in the wall, and they don't even know what's going on. So that's number one. Number two is you want to expand the audience if you can. And I understand some of you guys are local businesses and you don't have that option, but maybe you want to open up another store in another part of the town. I don't know, but you want to remember that that it's audience that's getting fatigue from seeing the same ad. So expand it further, so that the ad is shown to a new audience that may probably have not seen it before or may have not interacted with your brand before. Okay, so Facebook's detailed targeting expansion option is a very, very handy tool for you to do this. Because another thing that you could do, maybe it's not maybe areas, another way of expanding the audience is by picking up a different demographic. That's another way of expanding the audience. So you can do it that way. Maybe you're in the same area, the same 5 mile, 10 mile radius, but different options in the detail targeting expansion. So you want to play around with that as well. Maybe you can pick up some new type of demographic. Okay. Number 3, last but not least, is you want to limit audience overlap to prevent this thing from happening. So when this happens, is when when all of this fatigue is happening, is when you're basically competing against yourself. Okay, when sometimes I'm sorry. So sometimes ad fatigue happens when you're basically competing against yourself, and this is a term that's frequently used as ad cannibalization. Okay, so you're cannibalizing yourself, if you will. That's a term that's been thrown out there a lot recently. So so basically what all it means, like I said before, is that you're basically competing against yourself. It's possible that the different audiences you're targeting might include the same people, so your ad will essentially be competing against itself for their impressions. So what you want to do in this case, since you can run Instagram ads through Facebook, you want to use Facebook's audience overlap tool, okay, to find out the percentage of your audiences that overlap. So the consensus is that the overlap should be kept below, say, 20% for the optimum performance. Okay, so this is something that you really, really want to look at, because this is of the 3 suggestions I'm giving you to avoid ad fatigue. This is the one that's overlooked the most, because no one really knew that this is a possibility, but it really is. if you understand the algorithm of the Facebook ad platform, you'll see how much this is possible. So you're going to be careful. You just want to be careful with that. So that's why I wanted to point that out. All right. So before I let you go, I want you guys, I'm going to preach a little bit here at the end here, because I don't want you guys to throw money at the problem. Oftentimes, as a matter of fact, I took on another client about 8 months ago. And the reason I took on, well, he was doing his ads himself. And every time he ran into a problem, he just kept throwing money at it. And I realized that was his pattern. And I'm like, you don't want to throw money at it until you actually know if you're getting results. So here's what I'm gonna preach a little bit here. So don't throw money at the problem. Now this isn't the problem that you solve by throwing money at it. Okay, understand that the common belief, unfortunately, tends to be that with time, the campaign may say recover, as they thinking that Facebook algorithm is gonna just do its thing. And it's a great tool, don't get me wrong. But another thing is that by increasing the budget, that the ads delivery just miraculously improve. See, that rarely works, because the fundamental issue why ads fail to generate any interest from the audience really remains unresolved. Okay, so you want to keep a close eye on the campaign performance, and you want to utilize the tools that Facebook provides to make the appropriate changes to reinvigorate your campaign. That's what you really want to do. That's the trick. So a lot of people just, because everyone's harping on how great the AI feature of Facebook is. Oh my God, this is such a great feature. It does everything itself. And remember what I said at the beginning of this episode, it's not a set and forget thing. It really isn't. I don't want you guys to think that Facebook is the set and forget platform. It's not. It takes work. It takes know-how. You have to understand the psychology of marketing. You have to understand how the algorithm interprets what you're doing. You have to understand all of this, and you have to be able to know how to switch and change as you see the data come in. And this should be done weekly, really. I used to do stuff like this monthly, but as everything comes in, I stopped doing it monthly and I do it weekly. And that's why I instruct my teams to do it weekly, both on this platform and the Google platform. So that's all I have for you today, folks. I hope you got a lot out of this. This is a very important topic, especially if you're starting to see a decline in your Facebook and Instagram ads. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone else that you think may benefit from this. Also, if you enjoy my podcast, please subscribe using your favorite podcast app. This way, you will be notified every time I come up with a new episode. That's all I have for you today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you guys next week with another kick butt topic. Until next week, guys, take care and bye for now. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, Make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.